going, team? Today we're going to talk about research. This is internal training for content. And why research is important, right? So there's a lot of people who create content because they like it, and so I think they think that's how it was with me. I used to think, okay, that seems like a really cool idea to talk about, and then I would create it, and then it would get 800 views or 2,000 views, just like here, and it wouldn't really get me anywhere, right? And so at the beginning, we have this kind of like false judgment because we haven't developed our skill to know what would people like. And so unfortunately with content, you need to create, especially if you want to go viral, you want to create, especially at first, content that have the highest percentage of million people liking it, right? So you need to think of how can I create a video that 1 million people can like? Because if 1 million people will like it, you're gonna get the most amount of views, right? If that's what you're going for. Right now we're talking about virality, right? In different formats. So right now, this is why research helps us to understand where is the demand in the market, right? So unfortunately, at first, you don't really understand it because you're not in the content, and especially when you're just getting started, that's what we need to focus on. And so here's what I had: 2,000 views. I was just creating content because I thought, I think people might be interesting about it, but in the results, it's not. We have false judgment because we haven't developed the skill yet, right? And so I'm going to show you my first video that I did with research. I'll dive into what it is a little bit further on. So 4,000 views, boom. 4,000 views, 3,000 views, boom. And then it was only growing, and then at the end, as you can understand, 200,000 views, 100,000 views, 21,000 views, 59,000 views. Okay, so here's the difference between no research and then the difference with the research. Okay, so what is a research? Research, as I said, it's pretty much your understanding of your niche. What is popular in your niche and what are people curious about, right? So this is a table that we have created, and if you're somewhat serious about content, you need to find at least 30 outliers videos and break them down. Why are they famous, right? At least 30, because this will give you a really good database of what type of content to create and what to create about. Okay, so for example, we had a client jabbing a very sports drink with a lot of electrolytes, so we needed to make sure that we have a good amount of views for beverage that is sports beverage. So we need to find out what do people watch, because again, demand. So for example, if you take a look, right, 2 million views, that means that 2.5 million people are interested in watching video with that certain idea, right? So our job is to find this videos, right, those videos around 30, so here we did 60, to understand what are people actually curious about. And so as you can understand, make sure that when you do your research, I'm gonna dive a little bit deeper on how to do it in the next video, but make sure when you create those research that you find the outliers. So outliers, you see 15,000 followers and 2.7 million views. What that means is that the idea of the video is so strong that 2 or almost 3 million people are want to view it, no matter the fact that it has 15,000 followers, right? So it's a big X, okay? So for example, there's other examples. Don't take the videos of big authors who have 3 million views or 3 million followers and then they have 200,000 views, because this is mostly the follower count, and the followers are the ones, and their brand, the ones who are pushing it, right? So, and again, you want to see the idea of those popular videos and don't just steal them. I'm not saying we need to steal those ideas. No. We need to kind of see why they are popular. We need to see the specific details that they're pointing at. We need to see at the hook that they're grabbing, right? And paraphrase it, change the topic, or it will give you an estimate idea of what is going on, and put your own authenticity and your professionalism into that area, right? So for example, I did the research, and for one of the videos I did the research, this video completely taken off of the research. Okay, so this interesting very format, I saw that format in different styles, doing it with ISO and frame rate, and I was like, okay, so how can I put that in my nutshell but having the same format, and we already went over the format video, right? And so this was actually my first 10,000 views. I was so hyped for that. Yeah, that's pretty much what research is. I want to dive into in the next video how we can actually do it. I hope it makes sense. Let me know. Email